South Carolinians for the Common Good Multimedia History Project, the Ben Robertson Society. Palmetto citizen who has contributed to the common good, D.P. Lowther of Ridgeville, Carolina. Superman is said to live in Metropolis, but another Superman lives in South Carolina, in a little town called Ridgeland. Instead of leaping tall buildings in a single bound, he walks with a slow gait. He's nearly 90 years old, but single-handedly helped save a major part of South Carolina. Mr. Lowther contributed to the common good of South Carolina because he helped save our Spanish colonial horses, the marsh tacky, from extinction. The Spanish colonial horses were brought to the New World by Spanish explorers, who left horses and pigs on the barrier islands for Spanish colonists to utilize. Observing the way they graze on green pastures and gallop majestically through all types of terrain, one would never know this horse was on the face of extinction. So why are they called tacky? Because they were so common long ago. Marsh tackies are easygoing creatures and not spooked easily. This makes them popular with trail riders, hunters, and children. Mr. Lowther says they exhibit mainly solid colors and average 14 hands and under. They're kind, level-headed, and easy keep. Over 500 years, the horses adapted the environment with unique characteristics such as hooves that rarely need trimming the way domesticated horses do, and thicker hides that resist insects such as mosquitoes. They're tough. You can ride them all day and some of them won't even break a sweat, says Mr. Lowther. Then came technology. Tractors were more practical than horses for plowing, and residential areas sprouted up on Hilton Head, edging this wonderful horse out of its habitat. The small colony became smaller and smaller and faced extinction. The first reason that Mr. Lowther is important is he promoted the importance and historical significance of this horse. He became interested in the horse as a child working on his father's ranch. He appreciated their stamina and agility. He made the point that these horses don't give out. He understood their sense of mobility in marshes that were impassable for most horses. If a horse panics in the water, it isn't a marsh tacky. Mr. Lowther showed the history of this horse through our state. During the Spanish era of the 1500s, colonial settlers used them. During the American Revolution, Francis Marion's men rode them. During the Civil War, they were ridden by black units along the coast. Because the marsh tacky was such a quality worker, it was often seen in every yard. The horses delivered mail, plowed fields, and brought people to visit. Nowadays, you're more likely to see them at a Civil War reenactment than working behind a plow. During World War II, they patrolled with soldiers watching for U-boats. Mr. Lowther worked to prevent the extinction of the horse. He began bringing the marsh tackies to the mainland in the 1950s. 4 bridges were even built. He began breeding them carefully to ensure they weren't bred with non-tacky. He noted that residential areas such as Hilton Head were edging the tacky out of its natural habitat. He helped found the South Carolina Marsh Tacky Association. He worked to promote awareness, preservation, and propagation of the horse. This new generation of horses can now be seen throughout the state, In Anderson County, Little Essie is an example used for school field trips and outreach programs. Michael and Julia Barnes obtained this lovely mare from Mr. Lowther in 2000. Mr. Lowther worked with the American Livestock Breeds Association to form a registry of marsh tacky horses. He worked with Texas A&M, Mississippi University, and other schools to get genetic documentation. The breed has a special gait, now known as the swamp fox trot. Events such as beach races, hunting events, and other shows around the state help promote awareness of this horse. The third reason Mr. Lowther is important is that he worked to promote the breed as the state heritage horse. He said one of his greatest achievements was when the bill was signed in 2010, making the Marsh Tacky South Carolina's heritage. He did face opposition from some, such as Senator Kirsch of Clover, who thought the Marsh Tacky was ugly. But the legislature passed the bill. He even learned that Governor Sanford had ridden tackies as a child when he was visiting. Some may ask why this horse is even needed or honored. After all, horses aren't that important in everyday life. I disagree. This is a unique breed nearing extinction. It has a unique gait seen only in Spanish horses. Only 300 even remain, and they represent 500 years. South Carolina's heritage horse is unique. The swamp fox trot is its special gait. South Carolina has had many wonderful examples of wildlife that are no longer here, such as the extinct Carolina parakeet. Thanks to D.P. Lowther, the marsh tacky may not disappear, but continue as part of our state's history.